The next poem is based on African history. It's inspired by a Burkinabe shaman whose name is Malidoma Patrice Somé. He practices in America. You can do divinations with him to forecast your future. You can do healing ceremonies with him. When I came back from West Africa, I knew he was here, and I participated in a ceremony. We dug graves in around May, and the ceremony was to place yourself in a grave, and you're conquering your demons and that. That's not what this poem is about. What this poem is about is Malidoma Patrice Somé's autobiography, which is called Of Water and Spirit. Somé was born around the 1950s. As a child around age 5, he was kidnapped by the missionaries and taken to a missionary school where he stayed till about age 17. He was forced to stay there. He was taken without his parents' consent, just snatched up, and he was forced to speak French. French was not his native language. He was stripped of his name. He was given a French name instead of his native name. And in school, you were supposed to speak French, and if you spoke your native language, even at recess, you could be punished. So French was the language of instruction in Burkina Faso. It still is, although now there's been changes where you can have integration of native language too. In this poem, you need to know that dolo means a home-grade alcohol, okay, dolo, and calabash is a gourd, okay, it's a dried-out gourd. Calabash are dried and used as bowls, bless you. And they're used to store everything from alcohol to drink, to storing grains, or to keep your mementos in. And the last thing, or one of the last things you need to know, is that in this poem I talk about wearing an antelope skull. It's kind of the equivalent of how in the olden days in America, the bad kids would have to wear a dunce cap, and you'd be shamed for wearing that. So when that reference comes up, it's associated with punishment. Lastly, you'll hear the names Narawende, Awa, and Yale. They're Burkina names, and in the poem, the definitions of the names, their meanings, are explained. The last thing is that the baobab is a tree that is mentioned in this poem. It's a tree that's really important to Africa, West Africa. It signifies strength and groundedness. So again, it's talking about the violent history of the missionaries, which is something we think religion is, all good, but this is titled Bleached History. 1. White through fire circles, mud houses, lingering handshakes, white through indigo, slit goat's necks, and the dolo-filled calabash. 2. A congregation so large, piled high up to the sky, for only one step to his throne, to finally come home. 3. Missionaries pleaded, cajoled, for their congregation to reach that throne. They even stole boys to enroll and control, promising their parents future rewards. Their heads were shaved and their mother tongue shamed, with the antelope skull worn at least once by all. Cultural carving beyond bones, branding Jean, Marc, Antoine over Narawende's wings to God, on top of Awa's whisper to the river, and Yale's hope risen. 4. The red soil with its orange puddles held this pain, so full from what the whites called religious school. They tried to stitch boys against the hum of their ancestors in the wind, and with white cloth, bread, and wine, mined their minds for Christendom and the French curriculum. But whispers of songs sung in the field, lingering handshakes, compounds with family and thatched roofs commanded feet home through thorn bush. Stealthily under the moon, back close to mother's womb, from where solid like the baobab they did first bloom.